Okay, amazing. So, welcome to the Summer Light Transmission and the Art of Ritual. I designed this workshop out of inspiration. I was really feeling a lot of density um, here in the city where I live in Los Angeles. And I really wanted to use my energy as a light worker and as a healer and a guide to transmute that density. And so this session is really designed to pour into your cup. And also by being here and either being live or purchasing the replay of the Summer Light Art of Ritual Activation, it also refills my cup as well, because I find that even when I'm like on a retreat, I find that even when I'm teaching a retreat or when I'm hosting a retreat, it really replenishes me as well. And I'll show like some images like of the two retreats that I have going in the fall a little later in the workshop. But what I first really want to invite you into in this session is spaciousness and time for you to really realign with your own energy, your own energetic presence, to really anchor into that, to really ground into that, and to also reclaim your light. So today is the solstice, which is a portal, which is the longest, the longest day of light of the year. And it's also like a seasonal reset. So it's a really good time. We're lucky it's on a Saturday. It's on the weekend that we can really reassess and kind of look at like where we are in our life and like where we want to go next. What's that next chapter? And I'm constantly in a state of realigning with my next chapter because the more that you're really tuned in to life seasons and changes, the more that you'll find that this opportunity to really investigate and realign is just like here for us now. So give me a little heart or a little thumbs up if this like resonates. And of course, in a moment, I'll invite you to come off mute and introduce yourself as well. Okay, so I have my journal today. We're going to do a little bit of soul inquiry. Okay, so just to give you a kind of, oh, this is I blurred the background. But this is my manifestation journal, which is published on Amazon. So I'm Hillary Elhan. I am an intuitive coach. I am a creative mentor, and I host international retreats and local retreats here in California. I did one around the beginning of the year in San Diego. I'm really drawn toward international right now. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the reason I've been drawn to these international retreats is I believe that we go to these different places in the world because we're actually meant to receive the energy from the land and from the people. And then we're meant to give back our energy to the land and to the people. And so local retreats can be very powerful, but I've been called to Tuscany, to the Tuscan countryside, and I've been called to the crystal turquoise waters of Mallorca, which is an island off of the south of Spain. And so those are the two international retreats that are happening, one in September and one in mid-October. So Tuscany is happening in the fall. It's quite beautiful, the venue in fall. I did have two little pictures to show you just to kind of, set the retreat vibe for this call. So this is Mallorca. This is the venue which has a tower. It has like a 13th or 14th century tower, this beautiful pool. I was there on a super cloudy day. It was about to rain. I actually took this picture from the deck, but this is like a medieval kind of castle vibe that's in the Mallorcan countryside. And it's run by these two wonderful people, Lucas and Diana. Diana is Swedish. And Lucas is a filmmaker that actually they used to live right near me here in Los Angeles. And it was a total twist of fate that they, are running this venue that I love so much in Mallorca. And then the second venue, which I'll just show you like what it looks like over in Italy. This is a little mood board I did from our last year's retreat. But there's this beautiful yoga and meditation deck overlooking the Tuscan countryside. This is a picture from our photographer, Sarah. She loves doing like landscapes and captures. We're doing a lot of creative workshops and creative sessions to really activate your inspiration, your creative spark in Italy. And then this is the venue. So this is the estate. It's actually an estate with this little orange villa. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my little cursor here? This is the villa. So it's a historic villa. There are frescoes, like ancient frescoes that are being completely restored on the walls. This is it used to be a stables, but it's actually a reception. It's quite gorgeous. And then upper is like hotel style bedrooms. We actually have an entire farmhouse that's just down this trail. So it's like a 10-minute walk through the woods to a farmhouse. And then this is one of the pools. This pool is the pool that will be heated in October. And then this famous little restaurant called San Michel. So I'll talk more about that kind of later because I want to get into the exercises because I know that that's what you guys are here for, is to have the reset and the reclamation of your own light. And so what I'd love to do, I'll just, say a little bit more about myself so that you know my qualifications for sharing all of this. I'm a 500-hour yoga teacher trainer. I don't teach yoga actually at all, or very often. I won't say at all. I did for a while, mostly during the pandemic. And I was doing like outdoor classes and stuff like that. But what really drew me to become a 500-hour certified yoga teacher trainer was my meditation practice. And I've practiced yoga now for 22 years. It's helped me really deepen into a lot of different situations in my own life. And I love weaving meditation into the creative practices that we do on retreat. I love weaving in breath work, which is another of the 8 limbs. So yoga has 8 limbs, and breath and meditation are 2 of the 8 limbs. One of the limbs is the asana, which is like the physical poses that people do, which can be really good for nervous system reset and regulation. But you'll notice me today weaving in meditation and weaving in some Reiki and some soul inquiry and some journaling, which is part of my coaching practice. So that's what I actually do now is I'm a coach and I coach in awakening your magic. So I have one pathway, which is called Awaken Your Magic, where people kind of go through a reconnection to soul through creative exercises, practices. Back in my professional life, I was the director of Brentwood Art Center, a huge art center over in the west side of Los Angeles. And I ran classes and sessions for many, many years. And this is how I got really good at, holding space for people. And also by having amazing people coming into this space has really been incredible. Okay. So do you guys want to hop off mute and just say hi and like introduce yourself before we start the first exercise? I just want to welcome you. And Christina, you've been in my membership. We've known each other for a long time in the coaching space. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. Hi, I am Christina Cloud. I live in Nebraska,
Mhm,
in Bellevue, Nebraska, and I am a boudoir photographer. That's
mhm,
what I specialize, like that's been my baby.
mhm.
And recently I'm rebranding website and everything is in the works for
Oh,
maternity,
mhm.
headshots, branding, and portrait.
Great.
And I'm also a self-love coach. I've been doing it for so long within the boudoir
Yep.
space.
Community.
Now I'm just like taking it even further. I'm expanding my business and as far as that goes, and I'm loving it. I also host retreats.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
have one coming up in Colorado, and I'm really excited.
That's so cool.
So
That is so cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen your flyer for that, Christina. That looks really good.
Oh,
Um,
thanks. I
yeah.
haven't really been pushing it out, but I really need to. Just my head was I'm here because my head just has been everywhere and I really need it. I'm
Yeah,
so glad
we
that you
have to
actually
like
yeah.
we're gonna bring it back in because,
Yeah.
and I just want to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying. It's like the world around us is rapidly changing. And I really
Yeah.
feel like one of my missions as a coach and as a healer and a light worker, one of the reasons I taught art for so many years is I knew I was facilitating the healing of like hundreds of thousands and thousands of people. And so that's why I kept showing up and I kept doing it, even though I was ready to move on to my next chapter, right? As a creative, as a coach, as a mentor. And I truly believe that for us to have the biggest impact as women, I feel like as women, we're a big part of the change that's going to happen
Yeah.
in the world and globally. And we're really being able to step into like feminine leadership positions. So where we're like showing our leadership, right? But like through the feminine lens, right? Not having to do masculine leadership all the time, which is something that we all learned, like, right? Like we all learned how to hustle. Like I learned how
Yeah.
to hustle living in Los Angeles for 20 years, right? So, um, you know, feminine leadership is a big part of the journey I think that we're being invited into. And I know that to bring it back to what you were saying, Christina, like we have to be replenished so that we can pour from a
Yeah.
full cup and also take action. So if there's things like injustices that you're seeing or things that you're not liking in the world, we have to have
Yeah.
that energy, right? We can't have our attention like divided and distracted. So that's a big part of why I want to refill. And so I pulled a card. I hope you guys are open to that.
Oh,
The funny thing
yay.
is, my first retreat that I led international was in Greece. And I didn't know if the women coming were going to be like me, if they were going to love to do, card pulls and meditation and all this kind of stuff. And so I didn't bring my cards. I left them at home. And I had three different guests bring their card decks. So we ended up with like 9 decks of cards, which was hilarious. But I just asked Spirit. So I work with Spirit and I asked Spirit of the highest love and light, like what we need to know for this call. And it said, empty well, time to replenish.
Wow.
So that's the card that I got. So that always, because I've really strengthened my relationship with spirit, and you can call it God, source, universe, divine, whatever religion you follow or believe in, is completely fine. But because I've worked on this connection with divine channel, then it always answers. And I feel like if you pray, then you notice that, right? Like when you pray, you might get an answer right away. So just excited to share the space with you all today. Carrie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name's Carrie Masterson. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Amazing.
I'm a newly certified, trying to get business going, life and health coach, and I also have experience as a grief educator. Um, but I also do, my sister and I, with her nonprofit, co-created an inner wellness program, and different parts of Africa. And it culminated actually this past week in Nairobi, where she brought, it's a train the trainer program, brought the trainers from all the different areas together. And we presented again. I presented via Zoom.
Okay.
But she was there and brought the people together, brought the women together. And I, as you, believe that um, women need to step up to the plate. And I think now is the time. Um, so that's kind of a little bit about me, but I thought health coaching and life coaching would also help in the nonprofit world, in these countries where um,
Do you like
women,
people are needing more access to those kind of opportunities?
yes, and in very male dominated societies, and areas where education is just lacking. So I look at
Yeah.
it as education as power. Um, and that's what we're trying to do.
I'll have to share with you, my friend Mariana works for nonprofit as well, and I met her in Santa Monica here in California. She was a school principal, but she got her PhD in educational leadership, and she has been opening schools in Africa through a nonprofit.
Nice.
And like just like seeing like more women really step into these kind of leadership roles it's very inspiring. So,
Well, part of that is too, is explaining my role is really my sister's a licensed marriage and family therapist. My background was as a certified physician assistant, and I worked in outpatient
mhm,
gynae and family planning. But my role is more in that area and education and getting familiar with your body and
got it.
boundaries and saying no. But it's just amazing
Got
too,
it.
just by being born a woman, that because of whatever the case, women definitely do not get the amount of education because of periods that men do, which really puts them behind. So
Yeah.
again, it's rewarding work.
That's amazing. So, I feel like I could say so much about this. I have a women's health educator that is like coming on retreat to Mallorca, and
Okay.
she's out of Australia, but her focus is actually on like womb care. So I feel like we could go really like a deep dive into this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just want to say that I think that the work that you're doing is super powerful and, really, really needed. I get a lot of nurses. I got 4 nurses on my San Diego retreat, which was really interesting because I just feel like you said, like healthcare, for women, and a lot of times as women, we're taught like, oh, you're okay, you're fine, like our symptoms are like minimized. I mean, there's so much that I feel like we could talk about, but
Well, I
um,
think the area of menopausal area too, how confusing it is in the States and how much more confusing it probably is in areas where there's even
less, yeah,
less education and less knowledge to understand what's happening. So again, it's interesting work, but I also see, just as starting out doing my hours to enable me to sit for the national board, is one area that's really lacking. And that's what I was hoping maybe we could collaborate somehow too, is women with multi roles and always multitasking and stepping up to the plate. Is self compassion is so lacking. Um, and I think it's such a needed area too.
yeah. And that really goes into Christina's work with like self-love and
Mm-hmm.
confidence. Okay, so this brings me into the initiation, the first affirmation. So if you can just find like a nice comfortable seat, sitting up nice and tall, and I'll start the light activation. So we're gonna start off with a short light activation to just give you the order of things. Then we'll do some soul inquiry or some journaling. I'll give you a few prompts. We'll do nervous system grounding and reset. And then we're going to create a ritual that you can anchor into. So this is where the creativity comes in, but a ritual that you can anchor into in your daily life that's just going to help you like open up to even more expansion, even more stability, even more connection in the direction that you want to go. So I might have to make these a little bit shorter because apparently we had a lot to talk about already. So I'm going to go ahead and just anchor us in. So if you can close your eyes. Just find a comfortable seat, have your back supported nice and tall. Soften into the seat that you're sitting in so that you're like relaxed, but then your spine is like really supporting you. You might even like breathe in and you can engage like some of the muscles like in your lower abdomen and your core, and then just exhale. And on the exhale, feeling those muscles really start to turn on and engage. Okay. So closing your eyes, taking another deep breath in. The affirmation that we're going to start with today is: you're not here to hustle more. You are here to live your light. Maybe you're going through a period of transformation or transition. Maybe you're growing and stepping into new roles, new expansion, your next level. Or maybe you desire a way to reconnect back to your most expansive, aligned state through ritual. You know the power of gathering in light. So, breathing into this affirmation, breathing into you are not here to hustle, and then exhaling, you are here to live your light. And you can close your eyes if that's more comfortable for you. Breathing in again, feeling your lower belly really expand on the in breath. So breathing in, you are not here to hustle, to be distracted, to be in chaos. And then exhaling, you are here to live your light. And then as your eyes are closed, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Reiki energy. So I'm a Reiki level 2. I channel Reiki quite naturally, and it is a loving life force energy that can really do no harm. A lot of people in the medical field are using it to assist with healing. Should never, overpower, any other modalities to heal. But I'll go ahead and turn on the Reiki energy. So if you're very sensitive to energy, you might feel the Reiki transmission. But inhaling through your nose, and this is just to clear any blocks. So notice if on the in breath, if you feel anywhere like in the heart space. So as a Reiki healer, sometimes I can feel into your energy body. So into the heart space, if you feel any blockages there, just release it on the out breath and let it go. If you need to make a stronger out breath, you can. But what I'm going to do is we're going to anchor into the light. And Christina might remember this exercise. So place your feet firmly on the ground. If your shoes are on, then just feel where your shoes are connecting with the earth or with the ground. If your shoes are off, like spread your toes and really anchor into the ground with your feet. Then on the inhale, we're going to bring light through the crown of our head and we're going to bring it all the way down. So I want you to imagine a column of light coming in through the crown of your head, and it's coming and it's clearing any blocks in your vision, in your discernment, in your third eye, which is between your eyebrows. And then bringing that light down into, like down through your face. It might feel like a gentle sunlight or a golden light falling on your face, and then down through your throat chakra. And I want you to let the white light just swirl in your throat chakra. It really helps you to find the right words to speak your truth with loving kindness. So any truth that's in your heart that you want to share today, you will find the words. So bringing the white light down through your throat chakra and then down into your heart space. And I want you to feel like a golden ball of light just expanding in your heart space. And as it expands in your heart space, I want you to just allow any energetic blockages to clear from the heart chakra. So breathing into more love. Breathing into the feeling of self-compassion, so self-love, really appreciating yourself, having more gratitude for yourself to be here, to take time for yourself, to drop into a state of deep, beautiful alignment. And then just letting that white light kind of swirl in the heart space. We're going to now bring the light up from the feet. So there is light inside of the earth's core that we're going to imagine bringing that light up through your feet. And you might imagine the golden light as you breathe in, breathing in through the nose, coming up through your ankles, coming up through your calves and your knees, all the way up into your hip space, into your pelvic region, which is the root chakra and the lower creative chakra. So right below your belly button is your center for creativity and allowing the light to kind of swirl. You might notice like an orange color, an orange tint to the light. That is the color of your second chakra. And then bringing that beautiful orange light up into your solar plexus, which is the space right beneath your diaphragm. And that is your power for decision. So if you're ever feeling stuck or not able to commit to a decision, we want to bring the light into that space and clear it out so that you can decide and you can move forward in your radiance, in your power, in your light. And then bringing that light up into the heart chakra to meet the other beautiful golden light. You might notice when the orange light and the golden light mix together, Maybe you can give it a gentle rose color, a gentle pink color, a soft, abundant, beautiful, loving pink. And just feel that energy now expanding, that golden pinkish light expanding in your heart space. And again, allowing that on the in breath, breathing in, make sure you're breathing all the way in, allowing the Reiki to do its work and to go to where it's needed, and then allowing the pink light to really increase and expand. And so now, not just in your heart space, but the pink light is swirling throughout your whole entire body, clearing out any energetic blockages, whether those be mental, whether those be blockages in the mind, whether those be blockages in your words, in your voice, and in your speech, or whether those be blockages in your lower chakras due to other various reasons that it could be. Okay, and then allowing that pink light now to spill out into your aura. So you have this beautiful aura of fuzzy pink light. And I want you to allow that pink light to then spill out even more with even more compassion and more love and more gratitude, more appreciation into the room that you're sitting in. So really infusing your space with this loving pink light, this loving pink energy. And I'm sending the last little bit of Reiki, which can penetrate through time and space. And breathing into that. And then as you're ready, bringing your awareness back into this room and reclaiming your light and allowing this light to really radiate from within. So we're going to be doing less efforting this weekend, less hustling, and more into our feminine leadership era. So breathe in with me, and you can bring your hands up over above your head like a beautiful stretch. So just breathing in all the way, and I'll scoot back so you can see me breathing in all the way up. Very nice, Carrie. Very nice, Christina. Bringing your palms together down through your third eye, down through your throat chakra, and then placing them at the center of your heart. Thank you so much for being a part of this summer light activation. You'll be carrying that energy through the rest of the day. I've gone ahead and turned off the Reiki, so you'll see me do something different. You don't have to do this, but it just disconnects our energetic fields from each other as we go through our day, right? So that you can be purely in your own transmission, in your own energy. I'm using a salt crystal, a selenite crystal, which is just salt. Salt is a great purifier. That's why when people go to the beach and the ocean, they feel amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and just purify with the selenite. Okay. So thank you for gathering for this transmission. Would love to invite you now to open up your journal since we've kind of cleared a layer of energetic blockages. I want to invite you to notice, like, if anything came up, if there's any area that you've been feeling a little bit stuck, something that you're ready to let go. I read a quote the other day. It said, when we close some doors today so that we can open, new doors tomorrow. So the first journaling prompt that I have for you right now, this is like kind of like an example of like a morning meditation that we might do on retreat. A morning flow. We do this morning flow called Arise and Align. And it's not mandatory, like you can totally sleep in, but you can also come to the yoga deck and you can meet me for a meditation, an alignment session. And often I have other practitioners as well who like the pelvic expert. She gives amazing meditations. Sometimes I invite other practitioners to give meditations as well. So open up your journal and you just take 1 to 2 minutes. What are you letting go of? What door or what energy? Like, was there anything that came up that's stuck that's ready to be released? And if you were able to put a name to it or a word on it, I want you to go ahead and journal on that for like 1 to 2 minutes, and I won't talk. I'll play some music for you. And just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the music. Okay, it's not too loud for you. You can hear it? Okay. If you've got what you're letting go of, I want to invite you, if there's any one thing that you want to share out loud, to vocalize it and to speak it. Because when we speak things out loud, whether it be our intentions, um, or just anything that we're releasing, it just makes it even more powerful. So, does anybody feel called to share anything that they are ready to release or let go of? Christina?
Um, for me, my heart was feeling really heavy. It has been feeling heavy. And I was like literally feeling like a little bit of ache and just heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And through the meditation, I was just like, and then all of a sudden, I just felt like a lot of love in replacing that was
Mm.
replacing the heaviness that I had been feeling for weeks.
I totally understand. And when Carrie brought up grief work, I feel like we're kind of in a collective grieving moment. I was
Yeah.
feeling that a lot last weekend. It's lessened this weekend. Um, but there's a collective grief work that we're all being called to do right now.
Yeah.
And that can feel very heavy in your heart, but I'm glad that you're able to really bring the light back in, because we don't want anybody else to take away our joy and our lightness, right? Because that's our power, actually. That's our leadership. So, Carrie, did you have anything that you wanted to share, or did anything come up specifically for you?
Well, I would use the word and I verbatim heaviness. I think fear, and I think in the world around, just great loss.
Yeah. And if you're sensitive to energy, you're picking up on it. Like, none of
Yeah.
us are immune to it, but especially those of us that are very sensitive to energy are going to really pick up on the collective, the feelings of the collective. And then we can also influence the feelings of the collective, which is really empowering when we think about that. We can actually impact the feelings of the collective by bringing forth our voice, right? And our loving mission and our really like anchoring into this light. So I have a couple more questions for the soul journaling, the inquiry. And if any of these really spark something in you, and I always tell my retreat guests, if you want to journal for longer, you can always pick one and go more into it later. I personally journal. It's part of my ritual in the morning or before bed, depending on what my day is like. Um, but the second prompt that I have for you is, what are you bringing forward in this season? It can be what energy, what new project, what beautiful vision, what seed has been planted on your heart that you're here to bring forward this season. So that's the second prompt for the soul inquiry. What are you bringing forward? And I'll drop these into the chat. And you can always give me a little heart or a little thumbs up if you've had enough time for the question. I just want to make sure I'm giving everybody enough time. Okay. And I think I saw one or both of you is complete with this journal inquiry. So the next question that I have, I'll ask the second question and then you can share after this next one. Where am I being called to bring forth more light? So let me actually, I had that phrased a little differently. I'm going to drop it in the chat. Where am I being called to lead, since you are both leaders? And I know the other women that are going to be watching this after work today, when they get off of their different activities, they will also be considering this in their coaching practices, in their private practice. I have a private practitioner. Where am I being called to lead from light? I also have an entrepreneur. So, okay. That's the third part of the soul inquiry. And then if anyone feels called to share, either what are you really feeling called to bring forth, or where are you being called to lead from light? If that resonated, either question, if somebody had something come through, I invite you to come off mute and share. Did anybody have anything? Christina?
I have, I'm just like, my hand just goes up. For me, is really, was been really, really present is, um, sharing more on self-love coaching
Mhm.
than my photography. Like, I have been trying to figure that balance.
Yeah.
And this one, like the coaching part is like really pulling me to focus on that more so than, I mean, I'm still doing this, but it's really pushing me to focus on the coaching part.
Yeah, and I want to share with you that, when we follow our highest excitement, when we
Yeah.
follow like what's exciting us the most. And it's hard to do that because we're not always taught to do that. Sometimes we're taught to just do like what we've been doing or what is safe to do. And so we're
Yeah.
going to go into nervous system regulation in just a minute and we can think about this a little bit more. But when we're following our highest excitement, like my highest excitement was like to lead, retreats all the way across the world, right? It used to be my highest excitement to, go study natural indigo in Japan, which is something that I did for a really long time. And I just follow that highest excitement. So, whatever your highest excitement is, following that leads to exponential results, right? Because it's like a vibration, it's a frequency that you're putting out there, that you're emitting out there. So, that's extremely exciting. And did you have anything drop in, Carrie, that you wanted to share from either
Um,
portion?
I think too in coaching, and I've been trying to do this, is to refer to sites for practicing self-compassion and what relates to you and what is relevant currently,
Mhm.
um, to actually practice it as part of goal setting.
Ooh, that's exciting. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so making that part of, and as we move into the ritual portion today, I'll be curious, what comes through in the ritual that you're not going to have to do it right now, but I'm going to give examples of like how to create different rituals. And then I'll give you some time to get creative and to like write out and map out a ritual around one of these themes that's really relevant and like really important to you right now. And so I'm going to move into the nervous system regulation. And this is something that I learned in my definitely in my yoga practice, my yoga teacher training. Um, so when we go into the breath, right, we start to reset our parasympathetic nervous system. So instead of us being in like hustle mode or what's known as fight or flight or anxiety, we start to come back into our own rhythm. And the parasympathetic nervous system is actually, and I'm sure Carrie knows this with like a holistic health background, is actually like our rest and digest. So even like when we're resting, like our digestion is better. So it helps us to rest and digest and to rest and reset. So I'm going to share a really simple breathing pattern that can help us to get even more calm, even more focused before we really dial into the quantum field with our ritual and our vision that we're going to activate and call in. So, to ground your nervous system, I want to invite you again to just like close your eyes, to find a comfortable seat. I do these little micro meditations. Now, I actually meditate for like probably like 20 or 30 minutes a day, but these are going to be really short. They're just little breath meditations. The very beginning of my manifestation journal, I share like 3 or 4 different ways to meditate. And I find I have one that's actually an art, like a creativity meditation. I have one that's a walking meditation. And then I have one that is it's a seated meditation. Um, and I have a meditation with cacao. So that goes a little bit into ritual. But I published this book. This is the author's copy. That's why it looks like this. I published it about 3 years ago, and it's still something that my clients and me are using on a regular basis. So I want to invite you to close your eyes and just listen to my voice. We're going to do a box breath, which means you're going to inhale for 4, and you don't have to do it yet. And then I'll just give an example so you can just watch me if you want. Inhale for 4. Then you're going to hold for 4. Now, if anybody has any contraindications like glaucoma, anything like that, or you become lightheaded or high blood pressure, you don't have to hold for as long. And then you exhale for 4. And then at the bottom of the breath, you hold for 4. So you hold for 4 completely empty. I used to be a swimmer, so I can actually hold my breath for a really long time. So you can inhale for 4, hold at the top for 4, and then exhaling for 3, 2, 1. Hold at the bottom, feeling completely empty. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding at the top for 4. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding at the bottom for 4. Taking a nice, delicious pause. And then an in breath for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1. This is our last round. 2, 3, 4. Holding 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1, hold at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just on your next in breath, allowing your shoulders to soften down, allowing the muscles in your neck to soften. If it feels good, bring your shoulders up to your ears and roll them down and back. Bring your shoulder blades down and back and roll up again. Just releasing and softening down and back. I want to invite you now to just let your breath and your rhythm become your own. And then as you open your eyes, I want you to bring your right hand over top of your head to your left ear. Just very gently bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Breathe in here. And then releasing it, bringing your head back to center and bringing your left arm over your right ear, your left ear to your left shoulder. And if it feels good, you can wiggle your right fingertips for more of a stretch, and you can feel all the little muscles and tendons in your neck kind of stretching and releasing. And then on your next breath, just bringing it back to center as you're ready. And so I want you to notice if you feel any shifts just from connecting with the breath. And so that's another way when we're feeling stuck, we're feeling emotions trapped, we're feeling collective grief, we're feeling heaviness. We can bring the breath into those areas in our body so that we don't physically bring the grief into our body, right? Which will then later manifest as like different discomforts, disconnections, heart walls, or even disease. Okay, so anybody wanted to share a shift, you can just drop it in the chat. I am reading the chat. I'm going to do a vagus nerve reset as well. It's just a simple humming exercise. You can mute yourselves if you want to, or you can leave yourself off mute. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm just going to share with you how when we vibrate the throat chakra, it resets our parasympathetic nervous system through the vagus nerve, which a lot of research is being done around this right now. And what can also happen is because it's very somatic, the vibration, but it'll also help you clear if there's anything you've been wanting to communicate with love, with anybody. It'll help you clear that chakra so you can communicate more effectively and more clearly. So I want you to take a slow inhale through your nose. And as you exhale, it's something so simple. We're just going to hum on the exhale. So inhaling through your nose and on the exhale. And just feeling that vibration. And it might feel actually nice to put your hand on your chest for a minute on your next one. So just inhale, and you have to kind of listen to my hums. But inhaling and on the exhale. Just notice little vibration. Now, whenever I do this, my dog thinks that I want to play. So she just came over to my office door. So inhale one more time, inhaling, feeling that spaciousness, that gratitude, and that clear channel in your throat chakra. So inhaling again. And then on your exhale, just placing your hand and then just allowing yourself to hum. There's a yoga mantra that we use at some of my retreats. It's called So Hum. And the way that you can incorporate this mantra is so is the in breath. So it's like this. And then hum is the out breath. Hum. And it's just a way to refocus the mind and to anchor it back. So a lot of people that practice different kinds of yoga do so hum as their mantra. Um, so that also just helped to clear some spaciousness in our chest and in our throat. Okay. So shifting our parasympathetic nervous system into a more relaxed state is going to really help us to dial in before we start to connect with ritual and create a beautiful ritual. So this part of the workshop I call the art of ritual. And it's all about creating something sacred that you can connect to in your daily life. as you recalibrate your energy. Now, some rituals can be to open up creativity, and I do a lot of those on retreat. Like I'll do a painting meditation, or we'll do a beautiful watercolor mandala, or we'll go out in nature and we'll gather flowers and create something. We did something beautiful with dried flowers. I have the journal right here. It's kind of coming off now, but we did a beautiful exercise journaling with dried flowers the last time that we were in Italy. So, okay. So diving into rituals, and I'm just going to check the chat. Did anybody feel any shift with the breath or the vagus nerve reset? And just, to give you an idea on a retreat, I wouldn't do all of these in the same day, but we might have a sound bath. We might have a time when we learn a new, like a mantra or something that we can chant to bring us back to center, back to alignment, calmness. Yeah, just getting into the breath is like extremely calming. I love to start my day by connecting with my breath, by connecting with my core. So actually breathe in and I connect with those core muscles that we connected to right in the very beginning. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the power of creating a ritual. So I would say one of my highest excitements, which has really been following me through all of my work, has been my work with nature in the natural world and really connecting back to nature. And this is something that we do on retreat. We connect with the land, we connect with the nature elements, and we connect with water, we connect with the energy of earth, we connect with the energy of air, and even the energy of fire, which is the energy of burning away the old, right? So that we can really give birth to the new. I'm going to show you one of the rituals that I've been doing. This is like a little bit personal, but I'll share it with you. This is on my Instagram. So if you're following me on Instagram, or if you met me on Instagram, um, this is one of my rituals. I had my son film this. He was with me at the garden. There's a big tree, and I was guided to create a shamanic practice in nature with a tree. And you won't see the whole ritual here, but I am working with the four directions and the four elements and my ancestors. So I am creating some different shamanic practices out in nature to really connect with the quantum field, to really connect with um, something a little mystical beyond our everyday reality, right? Because we forget that the spiritual realm is really quite relevant to our daily life. And the spiritual realm can actually support us in creating and manifesting and having the kind of impact that we want to have. And whether you do that through your own religious practice, I do mine more through connecting with nature and connecting with earth. So that is the energy that is my highest excitement. I'm going to show you an example of a ritual today here. I'm going to create it right here in front of this is going to be my ritual to connect with the light, but you can use all sorts of different materials for your rituals. So these are my selenite sticks. I showed them to you earlier. Um, can be a ritual can be as simple as lighting a candle. So I do have a candle lit. In a second, I have a prop that I've got to grab. Oh, okay. I have it. Where's my whole pack of candles? Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off the things so that I can set it up a little better so that you can see the ritual. 1 second. Do I want to put something? Oh, here they are. Okay. Okay, good. So you'll kind of see the ritual oh, Christina, I know that tree. So that tree it is a tree that I've been working with. And the tree has been supporting me in creating a lot of magic and a lot of amazing things. So when we connect with nature, even the trees, even nature wants to be with us and to really help us and support us.
Can I share a picture with you really quickly?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, totally. Let me give you permission to share. 1 second.
oh no, here on my phone, if
Oh,
you can
okay,
see
okay.
it.
Sorry, because I have the screen. Can I see it? Hold on, let me click on gallery. Okay.
Hold on, let me see if I can get myself
You
in
almost
here.
got this, Christina.
Oh,
Oh, is
are you
that
seeing it?
where is that?
So Jeff just messaged me. My husband just messaged me and he said, we got the house. So we're moving to that house. I'm so excited because when we were driving up the driveway, I was like, this is it. He goes, what do you mean? I go, this is our house. And on a different day, I'm like, he goes, you want to go for a drive? I say, sure, I want to go check on our house. He goes, you don't even know if we have it. I said, oh, it's our house.
I love this.
And
So
he just told,
energetically, and can I just tell you, I mean, this was already in motion, but when you have Reiki, I'm telling you, if there were any blocks, if there was anything, it completely removes them. Like they just disappear. They literally disappear. So I'm sure that this was already in motion, and I'm just celebrating you that this has happened,
thank
like
you.
while you're on the call.
I know. I was
That's
like,
so cool. Oh my gosh. Well, that looks like a magical, natural, a really great natural place as well. So the only thing I have to do is I'm just going to change my video settings so that you can see. I just changed the lighting because I think you'll see, hopefully, a little bit better. I think it's because I have the background blurred. So I have a candle here, okay? And what we're going to do, I'm just going to show you one way to create a ritual. So you can create using crystals, candles, paint a painting. So I'm a painter. I might have to unblur my background for a minute, and I'm okay with that. I just because I want you to be able to see better what's going on here. Okay. So I've got this because I'm going to be using the incense stick to light the candle. Um, So you can create anything. This is one that I love to create on retreat. I call it anchoring into light because the selenite is very cleansing. I work with the four directions, the north, the south, the east, and the west when I create mandalas. So they kind of have that element of the wheel of manifestation. Um, and so you can create whatever you want for your ritual. It could be literally a painting. It could be having a cup of tea in the morning and, doing a bit of journaling. It could be working with essential oils, if there's certain essence that you really like to use, like lavender or rose. Rose is an essential oil that brings a lot of compassion. And what I was going to do, actually, I was going to have a beautiful rose, but our garden just had these beautiful roses like blooming, and then we don't have a really big one right now, but sometimes in the center of my mandalas, if I am wanting to work with rose essence to bring in more love and compassion, then I will put a rose in the center instead of. So I'm going to put this gorgeous agate in the center since I don't have the rose. I'm going to have a candle. I'm working with all directions. I'm going to go ahead and light the candle so you just see the smoke from my little. I had to have an incense stick here because I'm going to try to light it from another tea light that I've had going this whole time. And so when you light a candle, you can really set an intention, like if there's something beautiful that you really want to align with, whether it's an energy or something that you want to call in. Um, I'm not doing a very good job at lighting this candle. Let me see if I can do it a different way. Here we go. Okay. And candle can just be any kind, but you can work with white light to bring more like more of that divine energy, the divine essence into your life, divine support, um, support from your ancestors. So I work with my ancestors um, to, really bring their presence and their, goodwill and wishes toward me into the physical realm. So this is just one, like this could be like my morning ritual, like a white light clearing, or it could be something like a painting meditation. But and then these are a couple of my painting meditations I'll just show you. I just did a workshop for a big cancer research company. For their executive team, they flew out to Malibu and I did a workshop with them. But we were just starting to paint like some watercolors and meditating at the same time. So it could be a morning painting ritual if you really want to connect more with playfulness or more joy. more creativity, I'm going to grab the second one because you guys are going to be like, what? You painted a circle. That's me just meditating, painting. I'm going to show you one where I painted a little bit more. So this is another one where I was just playing. So connecting with the energy of joy, of playfulness, of your inner child. Or maybe you want to wake up and you want to have a beautiful, maybe your favorite tea, and you want to have X amount of time that you journal, maybe 10 minutes, or maybe it's a ritual to connect with your body. So what I want to invite you to do now, I hope that was like enough ideas. I wanted to give you ideas about a ritual that you could create. I want to encourage you to write down a ritual that you haven't done before, like something new. And like mine, I named it like anchoring of light. I felt that it went really well with this like workshop. So that's why I did that. Sometimes if I'm on retreat, I put a lot more candles and a lot more crystals, but this is to just give you an idea of what you could create. So I want you to write out I called it the art of ritual, your artful ritual. What do you desire? What would really feed you? Maybe it's a nourishing ritual. Maybe it's an awakening ritual. You can think of different verbs, like what would you like to give yourself through this ritual would probably be the first thing to consider. And then the second thing to consider is what will you actually like to do during the ritual and any details that you would like to share. So I'm going to put the music back on and I'll frame the questions in the chat for you. And then when you feel, this might take a little longer than the other inquiries because you're writing out your ritual, but when you feel complete, when you feel like you have a good idea of a ritual, maybe it's waking up and doing a certain kind of stretching. And then like, maybe you're going to go out in your garden and you're going to connect with the earth. Um, Really anything that's just really speaking to you right now in this moment. Okay. I think that is the perfect amount of time to get an outline or an idea of what you might want to create. So you don't have to know all the answers about your ritual right now. When I began creating my ritual, my shamanic ritual with the tree out in nature, I added elements. So first I added the four elements in, then I added working with the four directions. So actually I turn to each direction when I'm out in nature. That's a shamanic practice, which I'm very interested in learning ancient practices from native Toltec people, people from Mexico, people from Native America. I'm very interested in, I read a lot of different shamanic wisdom because I think that these ancient cultures have a lot to teach us. And then I like to bring in my ancestors and my heritage and call upon them for guidance. We always, when we call upon our ancestors, we always call upon the ones who are the most evolved, the ones of the highest love and light. So we want to call in the ones who really made the most progress here on earth so that they can really be of assistance to guide you. I talk more about that, not always on retreats, but sometimes if I feel inspired. Um, I have some exercises on becoming a divine channel, which I do through my work and my business coaching. So, okay, if I'm really excited to hear your artful rituals that feel aligned to you right now, you can always create more rituals or change your ritual. But what is feeling really, really exciting to you right now as far as a ritual? Does anybody have something they want to come off mute and share?
I have, I love to color or
Mhm.
paint.
Yep.
Um, and I have like those mandala um
Coloring book.
coloring books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
And so I'm giving myself 10 minutes in the morning
Mhm.
to do that
And
because it really
connecting,
helps me concentrate. Um,
it does. It
and just like everything else is blocked out.
And there's something really about being creative. We're using the other, we're using a different side of your brain. And so when your right brain starts working with your left brain, that's when we really have that synergy of both sides of our brains working together. And so when we wake up the creative side, which we're not always in, and we go into actually more meditative state, we shift from beta brain waves to alpha. And so we go into an alpha meditative state. That's when you get your like aha moments and your big, like what a lot of people call to is like downloads or, intuitive hits. That's where you can really get a lot of those great ideas. So I love that for you, Christina. You can also think about adding a layer to it. Like, are you going to connect with a certain chakra when you're coloring? You could connect with your throat. If you feel like you need more throat support, you could connect with your heart. If you feel like you need more heart support, you could connect with your lower chakras. If you're feeling like there's some stagnant energy, our base chakra, our root is connected to safety and security because that's where are connected basically when we come into the earth. And then our lower chakra, our second chakra, is our creative chakra. So you could play with different ones, or even your solar plexus, which is the I decide, that decision. If you're feeling
Mm.
like you need to call in powerful decisions for the day, you could connect to that. Okay, Carrie, ideas? What'd you get from?
I don't know if I'm complete on my thoughts here, but I
Okay.
was kind of thinking like
Uh-huh.
combine differences with using
Uh-huh.
like spices from different parts of the world,
That's
like to
cool.
place
Uh-huh.
around and um,
Ooh.
to touch them, to smell them, and
Uh-huh.
then have them come into one area together. Um,
Oh, neat. And then what would this, is there like any spice in particular? I'm just curious, like when you were thinking of this, was there like any spice in particular that you were like, oh, I'm really drawn to this spice or
Well, I think different cultures call for different spices and herbs. I don't know why cilantro kept coming into my head, but I like cilantro. I love cumin,
uh,
um,
no.
cinnamon.
Cinnamon is
Um,
a really good heart opening
yeah,
spice.
but
It's
and then I
good,
was
good for
thinking,
hormonal support too. You probably already
yeah,
know that, but
yeah, um, but too about uniting and cultivating a unison type of.
So like bringing more unity and bringing more harmony through your ritual. And
Yeah,
then what will
yeah.
the ritual do for you? How will it pour into you?
I think hope
Hmm. Yeah,
and peace.
a lot of hope for the future, a lot of peace. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
A lot of unity. So like sometimes when we have a wish for the world, right? And we're helping other people with something, we're really actually healing that in ourselves at the same time. So that's something to remember. Sometimes people feel like they have to be done healing before they can like help others. But really, we're all healing these different like aspects and elements of ourselves. And so then when we show up for others, it's like we're also showing up for ourselves, which is really
Hmm.
amazing. I wonder if there's like a cinnamon tea or I don't know, a turmeric latte that you could make yourself, something that you could sip, you know. I mean, I don't want to put any limits on your ritual, but I'm just giving like ideas that I'm kind of getting
Hmm.
little in sparks of inspiration as you're speaking, Carrie. So I really like that. And even using rose petals, but just
Hmm.
make it something that's easy, right? That's
Yeah.
you can do it in the morning or once a week when you want to really feel connected to unity consciousness, peace and hope for everybody. Okay, so what I would like to invite you now, just to kind of anchor in, so we're wrapping up. We have just 10 more minutes left. I want to invite you to embody that divine feminine leadership that you are called to embody here on the planet. And that's where your magnetism will really come in when you feel your nervous system is reset. So, whether you liked the breath work today, or whether you liked the anchoring in light, where you bring light through your crown and light up and it meets in the heart, that's an exercise that you can do it completely on your own. It only takes like 5 minutes. Or you have this divine ritual that you're developing and you're playing, right? And it's the opposite. Playing and creating rituals is the opposite of being in hustle mode, right? It's like productivity that people don't define as productive. Our world doesn't define that as productive, but it is really productive. It's really productive in to bring it back to our card into replenishing the empty well that we all experience at times. This is how we pour back into ourself. Retreat is another amazing way to do that. And I know that I said I would just share a little bit about the retreats, especially I know a couple of the women who are going to be watching the replay want to know more. And hopefully this inspires you as well, whether you're a retreat host or you're considering like joining us. I just want to share with you. I'll share Mallorca is unexpected. So I have one spot for Mallorca. I had capped it at 11, but it turns out I can have 12 because I've rented the entire venue, like this entire castle. I think that showed my whole screen. Hold on, there's too much going on. Okay, just this. Okay, so I've rented out this entire kind of beautiful castle, which is in the middle of the Majorcan countryside, and it's in September. And like I said, this I do have this one spot open. Mallorca has these turquoise waters. I'm feeling really called toward these waters. A lot of light workers are, a lot of just a lot of different people are called toward these kind of waters for purification. It's also on the bottom of a dragon ley line, which is going across all of Europe. It's about an hour from Barcelona. There's several major airports that you can fly into. But both of my retreats are 6 days and 5 nights. I like that. I really like that timing for international retreats. Here's a beautiful example of a ritual that you could create with other women and just tap into your creativity. Like, I love creating beauty and working with flowers and crystals and shells. This is my group of women that was on retreat in Greece, which was amazing a few years back. So I typically work with female leaders, visionary online coaches, artists, light workers, multi-passionate healers. We always have some sort of creative. I know that like one of the women watching later really is interested in like creative workshops. We'll have one in Mallorca and it's dealing with water element. And that's all I'll say. It's really amazing. And an artist that's flying from Canada is going to lead it. So it's not going to be led by me. Um, like I said, I like to highlight other women so that you're not just feeling like you're learning from me on retreat, but you're actually benefiting from the group and the all of the beautiful things that the group brings, and you're making connections with other women and friendships that will last a lifetime. This is actually from the yoga deck in Italy, but we have a beautiful meditation room in Mallorca. I'm going to try to show it to you really quick. This is very like broken down, but actually I like to just share very high level. This is our meditation room where we'll have a sound bath and an energetic frequency reset. And then we're throwing like a 1 day event in Mallorca where we're inviting like other people from Europe to fly in. So like my friend is like flying in from Poland. She's a coach. I have different coaches from all over Europe that are going to fly in for the 1 day to listen to the talks and the presentations. And then we'll go to a village, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that's in the Tramontana Mountains. It is a totally magical place. The reason it's UNESCO World Heritage is because it's so magical. And we'll also be swimming in the turquoise waters or just lounging on the beach. There's beach chairs with umbrellas, so it's quite nice, just like a morning day down by the water. Both of my venues are in the countryside. And oh, this is like the little courtyard, how they set it up for dinner. I mean, it's just a stunning, stunning, stunning place. Um, but like I said, this one spot was unexpected. It was open. I just didn't count it, and I didn't know until I talked to the venue about all the rooms and all the suites that I have this beautiful spot available. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out about those dates. But like I said, there's only one. And then the inspiration retreat is something I'm so, so excited about. We're going to have a lot of creative moments, creative afternoons. You can watch the trailer. So this is like a trailer that I created from last year's retreat to give you an idea what it's all about. It's a little smaller. We have 8 women. We're going to have 8 women max. And we're going to take a day trip to Lucca, which Lucca and Siena, if you're familiar with Tuscany, are kind of like the crown jewels of like, I mean, Tuscany has a lot of crown jewels. So Arezzo, there's a lot of different cities, but Lucca is one of them. And we'll go to the market. They have a very special market in Lucca that we're going to be visiting. I have some women coming on the retreat that love like vintage shopping and they get inspired by collecting antiques. And so we'll go do that for the day. And my uncle just got back from Lucca, so he's sending me all these amazing coffee house recommendations. I didn't even know he was going. It was his first time to Italy. He had an amazing time. This is our breakfast restaurant, San Michele. These are both beautiful, beautiful views from the venue, from the retreat venue. This is my amazing client, Fran. She is a really talented oil painter. And this is a class, a workshop that we put together in the historic villa. So that big historic villa that I showed at the very beginning with the frescoes on the walls, they're actually on the ceiling in this room. You can't quite see from this picture. Um, but I work with other visionaries, other leaders, other coaches, other creative women. I have a lot of holistic wellness experts that come. So this is Lori. She is a holistic wellness expert, and she came last year. I have Dawn, a holistic wellness expert, coming to Mallorca. And then in Italy, I have a food blogger. She is a really well-known food blogger, and she's probably going to come and number one, be delighted with the restaurant because it's amazing. But this is considered an agriturismo, which means that the land is farmed. So they grow their own food on the land and then they prepare it in this award-winning restaurant that people come to from all over the region. And that's where we eat twice a day. Big brunch, big dinner, then lunches we do a la carte. Otherwise, we'd literally just be sitting there eating all day. And we last time for lunches, we ordered a huge farm box from the venue and they delivered it to our farmhouse. And we have kitchens. And so we prepared a meal, we infused it with Reiki. It was really magical. Um, and that is just a picture from the patio of the restaurant. This is the kind of beautiful exercises and journaling things that we do to awaken our creativity, really to connect back to pure light and source and inspiration. A lot of women that come on my retreat are transitioning from one phase of their life to another. I love to help people connect really deeply to their alignment. Listening to inner voice and following that is something that I've done my entire life. I'm originally from Kentucky. I lived in France. I lived in New York and I've lived in Los Angeles and I've traveled all over the world. So I just keep listening to my inner voice and I love to just, work with other women who are doing the same thing, basically. This is our farmhouse. It's completely stunning. It's fully renovated inside, but it's the historic building. Um, and I do still have two spots left for this retreat. We do for women that are like coaching and having like doing like entrepreneurship, if they want to do, you already will get a content creation workshop with a photographer. But if you want to have a brand workshop, like a branding workshop, you can have that, you can add that on, which is really amazing. And then this just shows, this is from the content workshops. This was actually taken by, I think it was the photographer taking the picture of Prue, who was then taking a picture of Wendy. But if I have the picture at the very top of Prue from the content workshop, it was on the mood board. It's really, really stunning. So you can just get some great photos that you can use for your business. Or just if you're going for personal, like I do have a woman going for personal reasons, and she might just want a shoot of her, like a feminine kind of embodiment shoot, kind of to just capture her in this moment. We do those later when we're well rested. So we don't do those when we first get there and we're all like jet lagged. And then this is the farm to table meal that we made in our kitchen from their huge farm box. So we were out by the pool and just eating outside. And then this is the incredible pasta. They do gluten-free. They do protein. They do like three diets. We had to cook. We had three different diets going on the retreat, and they would just bring out family style, like all the different options that we could accommodate. And then there's multiple courses that are served in a meal from the aperitivo, like the drink, to the salads, to the main, to the desserts. And then this is just a little bit more about me. If you're new to my world, this is all the facts. But anyway, not to get too micro on this call because I want to close it out, but I know that a couple of you are going to be deciding if you're going to come with us and take the Italy spot or if you want that last Mallorca spot due to I think somebody has a scheduling thing. But I just want to close out this summer light activation. This is just a little tiny sampling of what we do on retreat. We get to do so much more and we get to really sync our nervous system to the land. Let the land the earth, Mother Earth like transmutes all energy. She can transmute all grief, all sorrow, any energy can be completely transmuted, whether we're working with the earth plane or whether we're more drawn to work with the spiritual realm. I'm actually kind of interesting because the shaman likes to work with both. And the more that I learn, from actual shamans, what shamanism is all about, the more that it really resonates with the journey that I'm having here on Earth. And so I just want to invite you to integrate for just a minute and reflect. What are you going to be taking with you from this workshop into your week, into the new season? What are you taking with you? Like, what's the thing that's just like a yes for you that you want to take with you in? And I'm going to give you just 1 minute to reflect on that, and then I'll hear from everybody and we'll close out. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you have what you're taking with you. Amazing. And then who wants to share first? Carrie?
I think for me, it's going to be focusing on the calm and peace with breath work.
Nice.
So, in whether that's breathing in light, calmness, and breathing out stress, darkness, or heaviness. I think that's where I'd like my focus to be.
Amazing. And on the retreat in Mallorca, we will have a full breathwork session with a practitioner who's coming from Australia. She's really talented. And then I just found out one of the other coaches there just got breathwork certified. So we have at least two breathwork practitioners and we have two yoga practitioners. So we'll definitely be doing a full breathwork session in Mallorca, and in Italy. It'll just be woven like I did today. Like the breath becomes like part of the meditation and something really easy, right? That you can just do a box breath, or you can do, I know a lot of different techniques, but you can bring that into what you're doing. So I think that's really beautiful. Christina, what came through for you? What would you like to take with you? What are you?
For me, it's kind of the same thing. Um, it's like two things really. Is part of it is like making room for myself so I can reset and reset as much as I need to,
Mhm.
because that's going to be, you can't pour from an empty vessel, right?
It's just so
So,
hard. And then it just like our
yeah,
energy becomes like more chaotic, and it's almost like we're not effective. We're not
yeah,
effective. Our action has to be just targeted. It has to be like an arrow. It has to be like clear so that we
yeah,
can have the impact and the ripple, that we're really here
yeah.
to have.
That for me, that and follow where my heart is telling me to go right now, like what it is I need to focus on when it comes to my business.
I love that. Your highest your highest heart, resonance, your highest
Yeah.
frequency. So what's really, really resonating with you? I love that. Amazing. So ritual really connects the visionary to the sacred. And just a reminder that we don't need more time, we just need more presence. And so all
Yeah.
of these different exercises today were just designed to just bring us into coherence and into presence, into our own pure light energy and our own pure presence. So I just want to thank you for being here for the summer light activation and taking time for yourself and taking time to create a ritual that puts you into pure presence. And with that, we're closing out. But if anybody had like specific questions about either of the retreats, you're welcome to stay on and invite me, and ask me questions if there's anything I like didn't cover yet. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And it was wonderful to work with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you can just, I guess, because I'm not going to
I'm
end.
gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna
does
stay on
anybody?
because I do have a question.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And
Um,
Carrie has a question too. Oh, Carrie's
No,
gonna leave.
I'm waiting.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay.
Okay. Bye, Carrie.
Bye.
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 Okay. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Italy that I've been saying since I wanted to go to a retreat. I wanted in September.
Yeah.
And the last two you've done, they've been in September.
I know.
I still don't know if, especially now that I know we're buying this house.
I know. I'm so excited for you.
I'm excited. I am
So cool.
so excited. I don't
Yeah.
have the
Okay,
ocean,
I'm
but I'll
gonna
be
stop.
so